good. How are you?
I'm good.
Feeling worn out from your soccer game?
I don't want to talk about it. Getting too old for this. I'm going to stick to golf.
Well, they probably shouldn't have you playing with high schoolers. So.
Yeah, no. Yeah, we're not going to talk about it. We're going to jump into what we're going to talk about today. For those of you who don't know, Jen used to be with EXP Realty and decided to leave that. So we're kind of going to see why you made the decision to leave, what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it.
Oh.
Just kind of, this is a thing we're seeing a lot of people switching to EXP from EXP, and how is it different than what we're in now?
Yeah, we got a lot of questions about why we feel it's not a good fit for us.
Okay, so let's just start with some positives here. Is there something about it you liked that made you choose it to start off?
Oh,
with?
yeah.
Okay, why?
Yeah.
Give me some things that said, yes, this is where I'm going to go.
So originally, I thought it was a really cool concept.
Okay.
Cloud brokerages were very enticing to me because I'm the kind of person who kind of wants to be left alone.
Okay, cloud brokerage, what does that mean? Where's your home office?
Home.
Home. So you have no office to go to,
No.
report to, or anything. It's all literally from your computer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So they have this thing called The World, which is like computer software that you would log into, and it kind of took you into this like Sims world.
Yep.
And then you would kind of walk around and like enter offices to get into meetings, or like
it's like you're playing a video game.
go into like administrative offices to handle certain topics or whatever. And so I thought that was fun. Like it was like, you know.
Was that a big reason for you joining them? That it was cloud?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, not The World. The World was like, oh, like this is a cute little like funny thing or whatever. But truly, when I first got with EXP, I had my old computer, which was Intel, and it was very slow. So getting into The World was almost impossible. So trying to like.
So it's really based on your internet too.
Yeah. So and just like your computer in general. Like I had low RAM on that computer, and just like it wasn't built to run that platform. And so it was very difficult for me to get tasks done, like administrative tasks, because it was so hard for me to get into The World.
Okay, that makes sense.
So that was like one of the issues that I was like, okay, well, you know, you have this cloud-based brokerage, which is really like awesome for somebody like me who doesn't like to be micromanaged or doesn't necessarily like to engage and socialize and just likes to get work done.
Okay.
So that was the nice, enticing thing of it. But yeah, then when I couldn't get something done, there was nobody to really.
Okay, so then you didn't like
contact.
the fact that you didn't have an office or a home point.
Yeah, there was a mixture.
Okay.
Yeah, like, you know, it came with pros and cons.
Okay.
Obviously, I love working from home, and I love being left alone.
Which essentially,
this is my own business.
Essentially, you can do that with any brokerage for the most part.
Yes, but I didn't really realize at the time how there were quite a few brokerages out there that most of it is still cloud-based, and they still have an office. So I didn't do 100% research before I signed up with EXP.
So it was, you liked the fact that maybe it was a good or bad thing. You work from home, didn't have an office to report to, but then didn't have an office to report to when you needed it.
Yeah.
Commission-wise, were you happy where you were at there with that?
It was better than what I was being offered from other people.
Local people?
Yeah, I talked to a Century 21 office locally, and they wanted to split 50-50, and I felt like that was a lot compared to what other people were offering.
EXP was your first brokerage when you got your license?
Yeah.
Okay, so you were brand new going into it, and these people were offering you this split?
Yeah.
Okay, assuming that you were going to need a lot of training. So
yeah, so I think it would, like, people said, like, oh, yeah, that's pretty typical, or like
50-50?
If you joined a team, that would be pretty typical. So it wasn't like that I was like super offended by it or anything like that.
Yeah.
And he said like, as we'll help you sell your first house, and then
They're going to walk you through the process.
yeah. And
So
then
did EXP offer, is there any mandatory, I don't want to say training, guidance, or you had to be under somebody to do something, or was it kind of like you're in your own world? Good luck.
both. Kind
Okay.
of. It was kind of like they left you to your own devices, and so like the trainings that I would go to were more like pep talk kind of things, not like trainings that would actually explain to you how to run this business or how to use which forms for which situations.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Was there a mentor program?
Yes, I was getting to that.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Sorry.
Yes. So, originally, like I said, the trainings were like, they were very pep talky, like, oh, you can do it, like very affirming. And that wasn't the kind of training that I was looking for. So I quickly stopped going to those trainings
Okay.
because I wasn't really looking for encouragement as much as I was looking for logistics, like how do I actually run this business. So they do set you up with a mentor for your first 3 transactions, but that comes at a cost.
Yep. You give them part of
So-
your split.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
So you have a split with EXP, and then you have another split with your mentor for 3 transactions.
yes.
Okay.
So everybody on EXP is an 80-20 split.
Okay.
And during your mentorship, you have to pay another 20%. So you're essentially 60-40 for your first 3 transactions. And so out of that 20% they take for the mentorship, 10% goes to the program, and 10% goes to your mentor.
Okay. And does EXP have a cap?
Yes.
Okay. So when you cap at a certain dollar amount, you keep 100% of your earnings.
Yes.
Okay.
I think the cap was 16,000. So it means that EXP would have had to make $16,000 from the
you.
20% that they were receiving before they would transition you to 100%. But even at the 100%, you still have a transaction fee.
Okay.
So, and then there's a monthly fee associated
Correct.
with EXP.
Okay.
So it's not that it was like incredibly expensive to be there, but there are other brokerages out there offering better splits for less monthly fees and things like that. So
All right.
they're not necessarily the most competitive
Yeah.
commission split out there
So,
anymore.
all right. So one thing that I kind of look for with a brokerage is leadership. Who's in charge of it? Will I be able to get a hold of them? Were you able to do anything like that at EXP? Was there anybody you could call and say, like, maybe advice other than your mentor, or just questions about it or problems? Was there any type of leadership you were actually in contact with in that area? Or was it just like a 1-800-EXP helpline? Like,
Yeah. I mean, not really. They give you like every state has a broker.
okay.
So
So where was your broker here in Pennsylvania?
I don't know like technically where they were located,
Okay.
but like the EXP in Pennsylvania is like run out of Philadelphia.
Okay, that's what I thought. I thought it was Philly.
So I don't know, the broker could live like in Harrisburg. I don't remember.
I didn't mean like, oh, I got you.
But so they like assign one broker for the whole state.
Their
so,
home base was Philly.
Yes.
Okay.
And so like that's where like the mailing address is. And
So
stuff.
did you have someone in Philadelphia to contact?
I don't know if this person was in Philly, but
You had, did,
yes.
You had a Pennsylvania representative to contact.
Yes.
Did you ever contact them?
Yeah, because sometimes you have to get like forms signed by your broker
Okay.
and stuff.
And how was that process as far as getting a hold of them, communication, response, stuff like that?
So EXP has this thing called Workplace. I think that's the correct name. And which is essentially like a Facebook platform.
Okay.
And it's actually, I think like Meta actually made it. So it is like a Facebook,
Okay.
but it's for EXP specifically. So you can communicate with like all the agents in EXP and the brokers. So you would like log on to Workplace and you would find the person you're looking for.
Okay.
And that's how you would communicate with them. So if I had a question for my broker, that's how I would typically get to them.
Okay.
Is like go on this Facebook thing and track them down.
Okay.
So that
Doesn't
was
sound easy.
interesting too. No. And so then I would, chat them a question, and usually they would be like, they would lead me in some kind of direction. Like, if you go here, you can find that information. Or, just sometimes it was kind of like beating around the bush where like they would never really give me a straight answer.
Okay.
They'd be like, you can find that in your independent contractors agreement or in the policies and procedures.
So the help, in your opinion, wasn't really there when needed.
No.
Like, did they dump that responsibility on the mentor?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't know what they expect from the mentor, because I think that there's a good chance that you could have a really bad mentor.
Oh, yeah.
And
people are just there they sign up for the mentor program and they're getting a cut of your profits.
Well, that's, I think,
so they can mentor. I don't know if there's a limit at EXP. Like, if they can mentor 10 people at once.
I don't know if there is a limit.
And then they get a percentage of all of them.
I'm not sure. But so,
Interesting.
because I know that there's a mentorship, classes that they go through. And they do it, obviously, so that they can get the 10%, I believe. Like, I don't think that they really, other than maybe trying to get these agents to grow on their team or whatever, I don't see, like, the big incentive to just help other agents.
Yeah.
Especially because you'd be, like, training your competition.
Okay.
So I was very blessed to have the mentor that I had. She was a great mentor in her own way, for sure.
Okay.
And she admits it. Like, she'll be like, "Oh, like, I know I'm tough," and it worked for me.
You're not a hands-on person, though.
No.
You're somebody that usually you get instructions or do something, and then you'll figure it out and do it.
Right.
You don't need someone to hold your hand to do something.
And she wasn't willing to. And so that's the thing.
That's good for you then. But
she really is great in like that, like, tough love mom kind of, way. And like, my 3 transactions happened forever ago, and we could have stopped right there.
Yeah.
But like, we're still good friends till this day. I FaceTime her all the time.
Yeah.
We're very good friends. And so I think that relationship grew out of being able to respect each other based off of her giving instruction on what needed to be done, me picking up what she's putting down and putting the pieces together, and it making sense because I was dedicated to make it make sense.
Okay, so rolling this into my next thought, would you say EXP is a good brokerage for a brand new agent?
I think it depends on what kind of agent you are.
Okay, so if you need your hand held a little bit more, maybe no.
Yeah.
But if you're kind of going to learn under pressure or in the fire, then it's fine.
Yes.
I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. I think
Tell me if I'm wrong.
No. I think ultimately for most agents, being that, you have a 80-something% failure rate in the business.
Yes.
That EXP is not for you when you first get your license, because the support, I think, isn't there for somebody who's bound to fail.
Yeah.
If you're actually looking for the motivation and you're hungry enough to be an agent and grow your own business, and you understand what real estate is before you get into it, I think that EXP will work for you if you are able to communicate with your mentor based on like what you need them to do for you.
Yeah.
Because at first I think I struggled with my mentor because she was not being specific enough on the steps of a transaction.
Yeah, well, you know what's funny too is when you go through the process to get your real estate license, there's a lot they leave out.
They don't talk to you about actually like doing transactions.
Or like a contract.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's nowhere that shows you how to write up a contract and do it. So like they tell you the legal do's and don'ts and what your job is, your fiduciary duties, how to keep you legally safe. But yeah, when it comes to like, you have your license before mine, and I'm so happy about that because you showed me, you were my mentor, and I could bug you as much as possible of how to do things, because you realize like once you get your real estate license and You learn a lot of it through the business. It's not like, oh yeah, I remember doing this in the class. It's like, I've never seen this piece of paper before. How do I fill this out? That's where you go back to your brokerage as a new agent, your broker, and they are supposed to help you through that. In your case, was a mentor. At EXP, can you change mentors or no?
I think you can. I think you can request another mentor if it's not working out.
Okay.
And I never felt like it wasn't working out. I just felt like, and she had some other mentees too at the same time. Like we would go to her office and meet because she actually had a physical location. And he kind of would have like the same comments. Like, I'm not really looking for you to tell me how to, get clients or how to do my advertising or anything right now. Right now, all I want you to do is show me when I do get a client, what's next.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Walk you through
how do I answer
the
their
literal
questions?
process of it.
How do I put in an offer? How do I reply to inspection? How do I
hit the time frames, the deadlines?
Yeah. How do I tell these people how to show me the money and that I need a pre-approval and
so
how do I get
steps.
Yeah. And so it was like everybody was trying to tell me how to get clients, and I was like, I'm not ready for clients because I don't know what I'm doing. And then I still didn't get what I needed, and so I just kind of started getting clients, and I started answering their questions in hopes that they would believe that I knew what I was talking about.
Fake it till you make it kind of a thing.
And so it ends up like, it worked. But like for my first offer, they'd be like, this is what we want to do. And I'd be like, okay, I'm not sure what to do now. And so like, I'd be like, okay, that's great. Yeah. And then like, I'd hang up with them, and then I would call her and be like, well, what do I do now? And so she would like send me a copy of something that she had done before, and she'd be like, just copy this in your, the things that you need to fit in your license number, your client's information, stuff like that, the things that make sense for your transaction. But that this is the first time I was ever really seeing the contract, was the first time I was putting in an offer.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand what I was filling out.
Every agent starts in the same spot though. Like it don't matter if you're doing it for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, second year, you all had your first transaction. And that could be why, the local brokerages here were going to offer you 50-50 because they knew you were going to be, they were going to be handling part of the contract as well.
I was pretty disappointed when they told me that at first because I think
who told you that?
When Century 21 told me
you the 50-50.
that they were going to do 50-50.
Okay.
Because I didn't understand what that meant for them. And like, I totally respect it now. Like, I totally get it. I think most agents just like assume like, I don't want to split my money with somebody. Like I just need to be told once what to do and I'm going to do it. And I am that person. Like,
but
just
a lot
tell
of
me
people
once
aren't,
and I'm
though.
doing it.
Like I get they're covering their butt because you're going to have people that they're 10 transactions in and they still have questions about things. And real estate is a huge scope to where there's so many
Every
things.
transaction is different.
It is. Yeah. And that's the thing, like something I was telling you the other day. There's 150 negotiation points in a contract. So like you're not going to learn all of them in one day. And there's even like now we still like hear of things that aren't normally practiced that like, oh, okay, add it to your arsenal and keep going.
Yeah,
So,
every day we're going to learn something new in real estate. That's just the way that it works.
Well,
I will not tell you that I know everything about real estate because I never will. There's just ever evolving things and so many things that you come across. And the true nature of it is that everything is negotiable. And so when you first start out, you don't understand what that means. And you're just like, what's the standard on this? Or like, what's allowed, what's not allowed? Yeah. And so
what's the standard? There's no standard.
For like a year, I was dancing around like, oh, am I allowed to do this? Am I not allowed to do this? No, it's pretty open. Like these standard forms are guidelines kind of on what we're supposed to be doing. But truly, like a buyer wants something, seller wants something, like you work it out, make it happen. Everything's negotiable.
Real estate is open conversation.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of people do learn on the fly, and it is what it is. That's just how a lot of realtors are, and some of them don't learn. But
No, a lot of people are just not open to learning, or they just like give up because
It's
they're
tough.
intimidated by all this stuff. And so that's the thing was that, the first time I saw this contract, I was like, I'm never going to learn what all this stuff, like you got 14 pages in front of me.
Yeah, but now
But
you
I'm
can
never,
get if someone wants an offer put in, you're like 3.5 minutes in and you're done.
yeah,
So
it's
like,
much easier. And I can explain the contract to people. I know what it says, but
yes.
originally I'm so intimidated by like this new form with all these words on it. And when somebody has a question about it, I don't know what it says.
Yeah.
So for somebody asking me questions, I'm just like, I don't know.
Oh, you're trying
maybe,
not to sound stupid.
Yeah.
Like you know what you're talking about, but you don't want to lie or be deceiving. Yeah, it's tough.
It was very scary and very intimidating, and I wanted to be the expert, but I really wasn't.
All right.
And I think that comes with, she put me in a position that I really did learn on my own, and she just kind of gave me like the tools of like, here's where this is, figure it out. And I think she saw that I was intimidated by the contract. She was like, read it.
Yeah.
Like literally print it out and read it.
There's so many resources now that like that's how we are, if something's going on with the house, we don't know what's going on, we YouTube it. Or we look it up online.
But that's
like,
the hard
how do
thing
I run this
about real estate. It was like that there was really like no guidance or like YouTube video on the specifics of what there was to do next, which I'm used to in life. Like I'm like, what do I do next? I'll YouTube it.
Yeah.
And so with the real estate, it's like there's kind of like a secret side of it that like these specific things are not always on YouTube for like the next step. So ultimately, like the mentorship was good for me because I can learn off of that like tough love. And so, just doing something once was great. Just having somebody who would just give me forms that were filled out and just say, here, just, copy this in a way that makes sense for you and just learn it.
Yeah.
It was fine.
That worked for you. Might not for somebody that really needs a hands-on approach.
No, for if I was the kind of person who was like, no, I need you to sit down with me and show me like line for line what I need to put in, she'd be like, I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
Like, no, and so I think that there are some mentors that would just definitely be like, I don't know, like you're gonna have to figure it out. And there were some things that she was like, you just need to Google it. Like, I don't know, or even she wouldn't even know some things, and she's got a broker's license. Like, sometimes there are just questions that like you just have to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
And so my cousin joined EXP shortly, for a short period of time, because I convinced her to join under me, and she didn't even make it through the mentor program because she got paired with somebody who was not a very good mentor.
Turned her off?
I don't know.
Okay.
It just kind of seemed like, from what she told me, that like she just didn't care and she wasn't really in touch with her. She wasn't like encouraging her to make any sales or anything like that. The one time she asked if she could follow her, she was like, yeah, I have showings tomorrow. And then when they were like supposed to go, then she canceled on her and she was like, I don't think it's professional if I bring you, so I'm not going to bring you.
Interesting.
So she didn't get to go on the showings and like didn't really get to meet the mentor. Like there wasn't a lot of support. So, and I think that happens often.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was grateful that my mentor was willing to, like, she brought me on a listing appointment. And I was able to see what that looks like, because that was another thing that like is very hard to figure out what happens at a listing appointment and what you're supposed to say, what you're not supposed to say, and capturing the client and filling out the paperwork right then and there, or your presentation, or stuff like that. So
selling yourself.
It was nice to watch how that interaction goes before I ever had to do it on my own.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So it sounded like mentor program overall was a good experience through XP with you.
Yes.
Could have gone either way for sure, but you got paired up with somebody that worked with how you work.
Yeah, our
So-
personalities, even though
So it's a hit and miss. So
Yeah.
somebody getting into it, if you're a new agent getting into EXP, something just to be mindful about, make sure that you mesh and that it works. If not, you think there is an option though to find another one.
I think there is.
Okay. So
yeah, I think
there
they
you
have
go.
that
Just-
option if your personalities don't align. And at first, our personalities were kind of butting heads because some of my goals when I first got my license were not the same goals as her. Like she was really interested in selling. And at the time, I was still full-time mom, and I was kind of like taking the part-time
Part-time
approach to real estate, and that it was kind of more to have
You're
the
easing into
license
it.
for our own investments and things like that. I didn't really know if I was ever going to sell to clients at that time.
Yeah, it wasn't in either one of our
Yeah, it wasn't.
mindsets to go full time into real estate.
No.
I was doing something completely different at
It
that
just
point.
happened this way, but things were different back then, and my mindset wasn't to spend a lot of money on advertising and go get clients and make all these sales. I just wasn't there, mentally, and I just needed to get through these 3 transactions with her, and she was just kind of pushing, which I get because I'm like, if I don't sell a house, she's not gonna get paid for my portion. So of course, like she's just like encouraging me, like go, and then once I think we kind of
found that mutual ground.
yeah, like laid down what the goals really were, and like had more relationship. It started working a little better.
Okay.
But I think that we were both kind of like alpha personalities, so we did butt heads a little bit at first, or when I would ask her, something, and she would just be like, "Oh, go find it or go look it up," and I'd be like, "That's not helpful."
Yeah.
Tough
Tough love.
but it was helpful because I've found a way to find it that like I'm just not always gonna have somebody to ask.
Yeah. So there you go. That's from what you were at. You had your mentor. We have typically the owner of the brokerage is who we go and talk to, which as long as your owner of the brokerage is good, it's no problem. So, okay. All right. So getting back to why in the world would you want your cousin to join EXP? How does that benefit you? You're an EXP agent. Your cousin's like, hey, I'm getting my license.
Yeah.
And you're like, great, go EXP. Why?
Yeah. So this is a big thing with EXP is their revenue share program.
What is that?
It's kind of like building a downline of agents and then you getting a cut of what they sell.
So the more agents you have under you that you referred, you will continuously get money from those sales.
Right.
Okay.
So essentially, a lot of people complain that it's like an MLM.
Okay.
And
what is MLM?
like a multi-level marketing.
Oh, okay.
Like a Sensi or
Oh,
Mary Kay.
Okay.
Mary Kay, I don't know. Tupperware.
Oh, I got
stuff
you.
like that. So
You send people out to make money for you.
basically, so you essentially like, I guess it's like recruiting a team, but you're not really on a team. Like you're
not
like,
involved with them at all. It's just your
No.
name is attached to them.
right.
I think I did see something about, and again, all the power to you, I guess, a bunch of well-known realtors in the United States joining them
And bringing their people.
and bringing their
Yeah.
people, and then also having people join under them, even though they have no idea who they are.
Right.
And then just to say they're a part of it, and then when they have 100 people under them, they get money from all those sales.
Yes.
Is that right?
So essentially, they're saying there's another way to build your business and be more passive income, like that you wouldn't actually have to do sales.
Okay.
At some point, like this would all be passive income.
So if all these people stayed active and sold properties, you'd get money.
Well, yeah, and I mean that's you recruiting so many people and so many people that are actually determined enough to make the sales and things like that. So, it's I think that for a regular agent like myself who really doesn't have a big influence, it's
You're going to recruit your cousin.
yes.
Okay.
But like the way that they sell it is like, get all the agents that you can to join and So I was convinced by it at the time.
I mean, it sounds good, but that's the thing. Practicality here. These are probably just going to affect the top agents.
Yes, I would need so many agents, and I just don't even know that many people. But so when I was first looking for brokerages, I watched a lot of YouTube videos, and so I found a YouTuber that I really liked, and liked all the things that she was saying, and so I joined with her as my sponsor.
Okay.
So I put her name in. So like she was my.
She got your money.
Oh yeah, I was on her downline.
I gotcha.
Which it's not. If she got anything, it was very small percentage.
Yeah, it's not. You're not getting anything substantial.
No, but I guess because in her case, she probably has built such a big following being on YouTube and her channel growing that it makes sense that she is having people sign it up under her, and then those sales are accumulating and she's getting passive income. So there is a way that it does become a sustainable business, I'm sure.
Okay, so I don't know if you have more to touch on with that part. But
so that's why I asked my cousin to come on.
Yeah. Okay.
She had her license and she was with Keller Williams, and I said, here's all the great things that EXP offers.
You sold it.
Yeah, why don't you come over and be under me? So she did that. She got her mentor because she wasn't super happy with Keller Williams either because she wasn't really getting anything she needed from them.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So, yeah.
So do you think that these people are being, I don't want to say convinced like it's a bad thing, because a lot of people are with EXP and they really like it. Do you think people are being convinced to come over as new agents and then not given the resources to hit the ground running?
Yeah, I think it's very tough for new agents.
Okay.
If you don't have a crazy like COVID market,
because they don't help you with leads or anything.
No.
Okay, and most of them don't, unless maybe you pay 50-50 into a big, because there's people with Keller Williams or this or that have high splits and they've been in the business a long time, and I don't understand it why they give so much of a split to them. I know they get things in return. I don't know if they get listings from them or clients from them or whatnot, but I mean, I know people that have been. It's not a split I'd be interested in.
No, most brokerages don't provide leads or anything like that.
No, but I'm saying,
unless
like,
you're
why?
in a
Why?
team that like is buying leads.
That's the thing. Like, I understand you're a new agent, but why go to Century for 50-50?
Mm-hmm.
Like, did they say, hey, after a certain amount of transactions, you'll get up to 70-30?
Yeah, he did say like we would reevaluate you after, so many transactions. And I don't know because I didn't actually go down that route. Right. Truly, like if I had joined under him and he was very hands-on and he helped me do everything, that would have been worth the 50-50. Yes. But I, I'm also not that kind of person that like I don't actually need you to be with me all the time. So.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody has value in different spots. Some people, for them, the value of the help and constant help and someone there to answer questions because they need that. Oh, 100%. Mm-hmm. And for you, it wasn't, because you're usually, once you do things a couple times, you're set, or you learn and you know.
Yeah, well, and that was the thing too, that he was like, oh, we want you to come into the office, this many times, or we want to help you sell your first house. And like my priorities just weren't there at the time. Right. I just wasn't like interested in I didn't have time. Being a full-time mom with 3 kids at home to go spend office time with him and have him walk me through things, which would have been helpful. You know what I mean? Because when I just talked about my mentor, she didn't walk me through all those
contract
things.
And stuff.
And so maybe that's what he would have done, and it would have been worth the 50-50.
Okay.
I mean, truly, EXP, I was doing 40-60 for the first few. So what would 50-50 be? It's not that big of a difference.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I guess with that, though, you knew after your 3 transactions that you were going to be 80-20.
Yes.
So who knows what would have been with Century.
Yeah,
so.
I don't know. I really don't.
Okay.
But, so there was that. I never was interested in Keller Williams.
Yep.
But, yeah, so my cousin did that for a while, and she wasn't impressed by that either. So,
okay.
Shame.
sorry to cut you off. Other than your mentor and the people she was mentoring, was there any culture with EXP? Did you ever connect with anybody else? What was that like? Because I know, like, for us, we do have a brokerage. Like we said in our last video, we just switched. So we don't really know anybody there necessarily, but we don't really hang out at our brokerage a lot.
No.
So, like, I've worked with several people from the office in deals, in passing conversations.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to, I could have got connected with all those people, met with meetings and stuff like that. Is there a culture option for that with EXP? Or, like you said, it's that Sims game that you were playing, that's where you meet with them?
Yeah. So like
Okay.
they have like, so when you go in the world, they had like soccer games and stuff like you play soccer and like your buddies, they'd be virtual friends. They'd be out there playing soccer on the field or whatever. And then you have that Facebook workplace thing. Other than that, like,
kind of selling me on this.
there wasn't a lot of like in-person interaction because there's not too many people that work in your area. And so like when I would go to a closing or just run into other agents and they'd be like, oh, you're with EXP, like, do you know blah 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 person? And I would be like, nope.
You know how many agents they have?
Yeah, well, at the time that like they were growing at that time, it wasn't nearly as big as it is now. And so a lot of clients, or like if I was showing somebody a house and the seller was there or whatever, they'd ask me like, oh, who are you with? And I would say EXP, and they'd be like, yeah, never heard of that.
Yep.
So it wasn't very popular when I got into it, though not nearly as popular as it is today. Like now I see signs all the time for, an agent with EXP, but that was
well, it does seem like
I felt very unique, and I felt like nobody knew the name of the brokerage. So I felt like people didn't feel like they could trust me as much as some of those well-known brokerages.
Yes, that's the thing. These cloud brokerages are definitely growing.
They are.
They're gaining a lot of traction.
And I'm happy about it. I don't think that it's fair for people to say we only work with this brokerage, because that's ridiculous. Because
we've talked about this in the past video. It ain't nothing to do with the brokerage.
No, your agent is everything, and your agent is the business that you're working with. Your brokerage doesn't necessarily matter all that much. So the culture at EXP was, at the time, pretty much all of their agents had kind of moved over from Keller Williams. So they said that the culture was very similar to Keller Williams, but it was cloud-based. Okay. So they pretty much were like mirroring, and they did similar things. Like they did the stock program, and I think Keller Williams offers that as well, where you could contribute to stock. With the commissions that you were getting. So they were taking 5% of my commission and putting it in my stock plan.
Okay. Okay. I feel like that's a lot of what we wanted to talk about. Let's kind of wrap some of this up with, is there any other cons? Is there any other things that really made you come to the decision to leave? Would you ever consider going back?
Yeah. So I think that there were a lot of pros and a lot of cons. Overall, it was good experience for me. I didn't hate the environment at all. It was very chill. I was left alone most of the time. Sometimes I was left alone a little too much, I guess, which led to some of the cons.
Okay.
But some of the cons, going back to the revenue share thing, they really pushed that. And I think I took it the wrong way, where like people would approach me, like friends and family, and they'd be like, how are you doing in real estate? Should I get my real estate license too? And not that I was even doing like all that great in real estate. Like real estate's one of those things that like steadily grows.
Yeah.
And so I had done a few transactions, and I was, the ball had started rolling for me, but it wasn't like I was making tons of money by any means. Because of this revenue share thing, I had it in my mind that I should start trying to recruit people.
Not for the right reason.
Not for the right reason at all. So I would tell people that real estate is going great and they should consider getting their real estate license and that they should join EXP under me.
You think this is a culture that was intended? As in, do you think this is most... you can't speak for most of them, but I'm saying, like, do you think this is one thing that they really push around as, like, a numbers game?
Yeah, I think that this is a big piece of how they grow their brokerage. And so I was very...
Yeah, I mean, like, it's smart. Make everybody else do your recruiting.
I was convinced that, like, somehow this would benefit me if my friends and family got their license, which is so ridiculous because when you really think about it, like, why would I want everybody in my sphere to get their license just to compete against me? But anyway, so I told people, like, it was great. You know, go ahead and, you know, get your license. Here's all the tips. Here's how I did it. Here's how I studied. You know, when you get your license, come back. We'll talk about EXP. So I had a friend go get her license and then didn't come to EXP. She went to a different brokerage. So I was like, okay, well, that backfired on me that I, you know, encouraged her to get her license, and then she joined another brokerage, and now somebody who could have been referring business to me is now licensed and could be even taking some people from my sphere because we live in the same area.
Yeah.
So that was not beneficial for me. And even recruiting my cousin was not beneficial for me because she didn't even make it to the mentor program. She was pretty discouraged. Yeah. She had a full-time job. She had other things going on, so she never sold anything.
Yeah.
So what I've come to realize was this plan doesn't necessarily work in the way that I thought it did. And you really need to be focused on recruiting agents who are actually successful agents, who are already in the game, who are already selling, who you can count on to sell.
And the only way to do that is if you're someone recognizable.
Yeah, you have to be somebody who's respectable and who's actually, you know, doing business that people are like, oh, like, what do you have to offer over here? So I realize that that's not good for them to be pushing that necessarily with new agents. Okay. Because your focus becomes
not
blurry.
Yeah.
And you're not focused on the right thing. Okay. When you're a new agent, you need to be growing as much as possible. You need to be getting to the point where people are saying, like, what are you guys doing over there that's working so well? You know, how can I get in on this? How can I get a piece of this? And recruiting, you know, like-minded people that are hungry and want to continue making these sales, and those people want to recruit other people. Like, there's just a whole
line of it.
Yeah, a whole downstream kind of situation. And that was not where I was at.
Okay. So that's a con there for you.
Yeah, and so and that's not necessarily what I think I need out of a brokerage right now. Like, I'm okay being at a brokerage that doesn't offer revenue share. That's not what I'm trying to build my business around right now.
We're trying to, that's the thing. We're building our business around ourselves, and we want equal out of what we're putting into it.
Yes.
So that's
I'm willing to put in the work, and I'm willing to do the sales right now.
Yeah.
I'm not really trying to build a team that's making money for me or a downline or anything like that. Like, I'm okay with supporting myself right now.
We're in our bubble here doing this. Okay.
Yeah.
So then let's kind of sum this up. If you can, give me a couple cons, a couple things that you liked, and then just wrap it up with, can you ever see yourself going back to EXP?
Okay. Yeah. So some of the cons that really pushed me over the edge, I would say, is that the communication is bad.
Okay.
Or was. I mean, I can't speak for right now. It's been a while. But when they made changes, I wouldn't hear about them, or they would slip through the cracks of, like, maybe they sent out like an email, like, you know, here's policies and procedures, you know, updated or whatever. And instead of saying, hey, we have some major changes. You guys need to attend this mandatory meeting, or you need to watch the recording or something like that. You know, at least acknowledging that these people actually have received the changes, that they understand it, because these people are out there doing your business for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, these agents are working the field. If they don't understand the rules, the policies, the expectations of them, how do you expect them to do things right? So I felt like, sorry, my eyes are watering. I just felt like there were a lot of things going on behind the scenes and a lot of changes being made and not being communicated correctly to the agents.
Okay, so communication is, at least it was then, and then the way they were getting information to you, it kind of wraps in with communication with that.
Yeah,
but,
so
I mean, your day-to-day communication, and then also the new information that you need to learn wasn't coming to your attention in a way that you could actually learn.
no, and you're not like wrapped into this network of people that are supposed to be supporting you. So in Pennsylvania, they had like a couple brokers, but like one main broker. But like I really never ever talked to these people before. And so I had like one issue, and the one broker like called me like very aggressive, like yelling at me. And I was like, this is really like inappropriate for somebody that like I've had zero contact with. And for a business that like I pay into, I give them money monthly and they take a cut of my money. And this is not the support that I am wanting to receive.
Okay, in your opinion, is it too big of a business, too big of a company, to where you feel like that touch of the personal touch is not there in some cases?
Yeah, I think that that's very possible, that they have gotten too big that they can't support every agent the way that they need the support.
Okay.
Which I think is even true for local brokerages. Even local brokerages that have 40-some agents.
Oh, 100%.
You know, they can't keep up with the phone calls and then sell their own, you know, do their own deals and their administrative stuff and all those things.
Yeah, that's definitely what I like about the owner of the brokerage we're at now. When I call, the phone is picked up and answered. So, like, he's always available to talk to. And when I have questions, he answers my questions.
Right.
So that is a huge thing for me, is just the market's always changing. The NAR is always changing with things. We need to be up to date on it. So having that communication is huge. So communication, company might be getting a little bit too big, at least for what you're experiencing. I mean, those are kind of major things.
Yeah, I think
like everything else is in your ballpark to do.
Yeah.
Like you can't say, oh, they weren't giving me leads. That's not their job.
No, it's not the support that you're looking for. I mean, they did have like, I think it was like every Monday or every other Monday, they had like contract meetings. So you could be there at like 10 a.m. in the contract meetings where they would just kind of like
next to the soccer field.
Yes. Like run over like, oh, here's a lease agreement, and then, you know, quickly like here's how you would fill it out. And they have them per state, but they hold them at a certain time. So like if you're out doing showings or you're busy, like
if you miss it, you miss it. Okay.
So
that's tough.
It's not that easy to keep up with.
Okay. All right. So is there what positives did you take away from EXP? If any. I mean, like you said, with being that it's cloud and that there wasn't an office you to report to, I think was a pro for you before getting into it. But like now that you pretty much know what it is there anything that you miss? You can say no if you don't, but like, is there anything that you're like, maybe I wish we had available to us now, or actually this was really good about EXP? Is there anything that comes to mind they stand out with?
Yeah, I think that their systems that are in place work well. Like when you get your check from closing, you scan it in.
Oh, okay.
And immediately they issue you your money.
Oh, wow.
So like it's in your account like the next day. And then you put the check in the mail, send it to the Philadelphia office, and it's all good. Like they got their money, but they knew that they were getting it, so they went ahead and sent yours before.
Okay.
So you don't have to wait like 2 weeks for them to receive the money and then them send you a check or some kind of deposit that takes several days to clear. It was very instantaneously.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, so I really liked that they were able to get those things done quickly. I did not mind their Ring Central system where they would get phone calls like voicemails. If somebody called the office number, they would give it to you.
Okay.
That like they weren't going to go find another agent and like give them the lead or steal the lead from you.
When someone's trying to reach you.
Yeah.
Okay. I gotcha.
So that can definitely happen in a local office that like somebody leaves a voicemail for you and you might not ever get it.
Yeah. So
not that that is ethical or should happen, but I'm sure it happens.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So, you know, it's things like that. I didn't mind the stock program. I thought that was nice. You know, I quit and I had stocks. Not quit, but I left EXPN and then I had some stock money.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it. Like, I just, you know, I like the cloud-based idea of it. I did like that they had those business things, like benefits in place. You could get health insurance if you wanted to. Like, you can sign up through them to get health insurance. It wasn't really any more affordable than what we were doing with our individual plans. So it wasn't something that I cared to do, but they offer that.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
All right. So could you ever see yourself going back to the brokerage?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. I never really loved some of the, like I said, the communication. I don't care for the branding. I don't think it's very exciting at all.
So the cons outweighed the pros.
Yeah, I just, there's really nothing that is really pulling me back. There's so many new options out there that are competing with EXP. I'm seeing a lot of agents leaving EXP for Real. And Real is something that I wouldn't knock. Like, I would probably consider it, or maybe even like Epic if we didn't have Iron Valley here. I think that a lot more of those agents might even consider an Iron Valley if they had them in their states. I think a lot of agents are just like, Real is the best option in my state, so they're going to Real.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing also with EXP, the more that it's in front of them, people also tell them it's a good idea, so they join that as well.
Yeah.
So it just depends on that. You have to be known about it. But
and there's so many people out there. There's so many videos out there of people saying like, I'm leaving EXP for Real.
Yeah.
Or another brokerage. And I've seen a lot of people like that I watch on YouTube. They've left EXP several times and have gone back. So something is pulling people back. And I know a lot of agents that really love EXP and try to recruit me to come back to EXP. But
personalities mesh with different things, and it just wasn't where you kind of wanted to be.
Well, I think at the time, it was one of the best options. And even for these people that are still there, they don't realize that there is now a better option out there.
There's a lot of options out there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So ultimately, it is what it is. I had several years there and nothing major. You know, if EXP is speaking to you, it is a good brokerage. They do offer
the personal choice
a lot for what you pay. And if that's, you know, your culture and you like the cloud base and you like being left alone, they're going to leave you alone.
Maybe just not as a new agent though.
Yeah.
Okay.
A new agent, I would probably get a little more hands-on help if you can. But their mentorship program can be good. It can work out. It's just kind of hit or miss.
Yeah.
So
perfect. hopefully you guys got a little understanding of why she left.
Yeah.
And we're happy where we are now for sure, but the future can change and we may end up somewhere else. But
yeah, you never know. And that's why it's really important and something that I'm working on right now. Kind of detaching yourself from a brokerage. Ultimately, like, just because a brokerage offers things doesn't mean that you have to use it. When you get all tied into your brokerage's CRM and their website and the email address that they give you and all those things, the second you decide to leave, you lose access to all those things.
yeah.
And so if there's any chance in the future that you're going to leave, you should consider having your own systems in place. This is your own business. You should not rely on a brokerage to provide things for you, because all those things can be taken away in an instant.
As soon as you leave them.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so fast that they can transition, they can change things, they can decide we're no longer using this system, we're going to use this system now. You can leave, your brokerage could shut down. I mean, there's so many things that, like, why put all of your information
Excuse me.
why put all of your information in somebody else's hands? You know what I mean? Like, now, when your broker shuts down your email address, and this happened to me with EXP, like, the second I told them I was leaving, all my stuff was shut down. Like, my CRM, I lost all my contacts and all the searches that they had put in, because I didn't save or export all that information before, and they just shut everything down. And so the website that I was promoting shut down.
Yeah.
The email address that I was emailing people from shut down. So now, if there were people that I was in contact with for those several years that I was with EXP, if they don't remember my name or
They're
like
gone.
to Google me or like how to find me, like they're just, all they have is an old email from me and they're trying to reply to me or something, and I don't get that email, they're just gone. Like, all those people I built relationships with are just gone.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important for you not to identify so much with a brokerage and realize that you don't work for them. They partner with you to help you build your business and make sure you are compliant legally. And you do not need to rely on them to make sure that your business is growing, that they're giving you leads, that they're giving you, XYZ platforms to use. Don't focus on that stuff.
Yeah.
You should really have your own stuff in place. This is your business.
Yeah. That's a lot of good information. If you guys have any questions for Jen on EXP, things, again, she liked, didn't like, in depth a little bit on that. Even Iron Valley, if you have questions about why we're with Iron Valley.
Considering those things, I'm happy to answer questions.
Yeah. Ask questions, put them in the comments. She'll answer those. Even what she just talked about, building your own business and how we're doing it. Maybe it'll help you if you're trying to do that as well. But yeah, now you know. Let us know if you guys have questions about anything we talked about. Thanks for watching, like always. We'll catch you in the next one.
See ya.